other thing is you don't want to weigh your egg whites down too quick. And it's a technique called reining in your sugar. You just, as your egg whites start to get some volume, you just slowly add it in so it looks like a light rain pouring down in it. And then that way it will maximize, like I said, with this we really want to maximize that volume. So, got my egg whites in there. Gonna turn them on. This you want to do a high speed, and like I said, as the warmer they are, generally don't take that long to mix. So right now you'll see they kind of are starting to look a little foamy. Volume starting to increase a little bit. Family's rolling all over the table, he's talking. So now I'm starting to get a little bit of stability in there. And like I said, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but this is a minimal amount of sugar. I'm just reining it in a little at a time. And as you see this going in, it's already starting to help stabilize the egg white. So when we get into ingredients, you'll see that sugar helps build structure. We were doing that the other week with one of the classes. So like I said, just lightly pouring it in. As the egg whites are getting air whipped into them, the sugar's incorporating in, giving it some structure. And we're almost there already. So even though it's winter out, it still stays constant temperature in here. It's about 70. Like I said, leaving the eggs out for about 45 minutes generally will give you enough volume that you cook. So while that's going, I'm going to get ready for my next phase. So that is somebody I had last week. They were trying to fold the cake into the mixing bowl, and I told them always get a bowl like this because these have really high sides, and when you're folding it in, it just doesn't fold in as well. Now you can check your egg whites. I think we're really close. So you take your egg whites, right? There you go. And as you can see, they'll make little soft peaks. So with our egg whites, general rule of thumb is you're going to mix a third of them in at a time. So if you put all your egg whites in and mixed them in with your yolks, you would lose a little volume. So what we'll do, and like I told somebody, I flatten this out, I make like a Y, just take out an approximate third, and it's not like full measurements, just estimated. So when folding, we did do folding. I see a lot of people just twist their hand like this folding. What you want to do is get up under, and this one I'll beat a little bit harder in the first fold because we want to make sure that we're lightening up all that yolk with the first initial step of our egg white. And then afterwards I'll just lightly fold it in. That way we're getting that nice volume of the cake. So again, just under, and you just fold it just till it all looks that light yellow color. So we got our fold going on, and even with the second one, I won't fold it all the way in, just so I don't want to overmix it, because I know with my third one, I'm going to incorporate it until it's all inside. So as you can see, nice, light, fluffy, aerated. This one, I really want to incorporate it in until it's all one uniform color. You may look through, and sometimes, like I said, people will wash their hands really good and use their hands to mix it in. If it's a one cake, I tend to use a rubber spatula if I'm doing a lot, because what the main thing is, you want to make sure all the flour is incorporated in. So that's another area I see over my years here. When students are making this, all of a sudden we start cutting into the cake and you'll see clumps of flour that weren't incorporated in. So with this recipe, this tells you to directly sift over top and then fold your flour. So what sifting your flour does, again, that aerates it. So it lightens it up, that way breaks up any of the clumps and makes it easier to mix into your egg whites and yolk mixture. You bang the sides, that'll help get it all down the bottom. All of our flour's in. And then like I said, we're gonna just, same thing, fold. Just watch with this that we don't get our flour all over the table. I lost a little. We'll be good the rest of the way. So as you can see, it doesn't really, that's why a lot of old school bakers will just stick their hand right in and mix it up. So like I said, we're kind of getting a little sanitation lesson in here too. So if you don't have to stick your hands in there. Now obviously we wouldn't need to wear gloves with this one because it is going into the oven. But even with that, like I said, I'll kind of just fold it by hand. You could kind of see as the flour's breaking up, I want to make sure all my clumps of flour out. And as you look, you know, like I said, looks a little lighter than a regular cake batter, but looks like a cake batter that, you know, we're not using the milk or the fats of our traditional cake batter. So this one will be light and airy. What we'll do to finish the cake after it comes out of the oven, I made some simple syrup because these cakes are very light, but the flavor, you'll tend to brush them with some sort of flavored syrup because they don't necessarily have a great flavor by themselves. So if you were making like a raspberry almond cake and your icing was like an almond flavor to it, you might want to brush it with, you know, some almond syrup. Try to have something that complements what you're making. So, you know, that's, you know, if you were making whatever, a chocolate sponge cake, you might flavor the syrup with something that would go with it, like a hazelnut or something like that, you know, and that gives you a lot different options when you're making cakes. So, you know, almond, hazelnuts are another one that are flavored, but kind of think of stuff that will complement, like I said, your overall cake. So that's, you know, that's where we get with some of the, when you start seeing specialty cake shops, a lot of them are using the same base cake, they're just using different fillings and, you know, different flavors. So you could kind of use, like I said, this as your base cake, have a chocolate as your base cake, and then the way you finish it is, you know, how you're getting 8 different cakes out of one. So with this, I'm smoothing it out. As you can see, it's about 1 inch in the pan. That will rise to about double in size. So if you kind of just push the spatula down like this into your batter, it'll push it out to the edges. You want to make sure that you're pushed out to the edges and everything's flat, because unlike our the high-fat cakes that we did, where you're pouring the batter into the cake pan, you know, and they just kind of level themselves out. With the sponge cake, it's going to rise, but it's not going to level itself out that much. So it'll rise, and you know, as with other cakes, we will trim the tops, but if you're not really level in here and you're trimming off a lot more on the top, your cakes are going to be a lot more inconsistent. So we will throw these in the oven. And like I said, these are going to be used for our second demo today. We're going to do a chocolate Bavarian cream and finish it all out. And once these come out of the oven, I'll level them off, cut them in half, and brush them with simple syrup. And that is our classic sponge cake.